Hey, welcome to Senior Care Coaching. We are going to discuss about your busy lifestyle and having a plan in place for your aging parents. Are you a busy entrepreneur? Do you have such a hectic lifestyle that sometimes you think, how do I manage all this? It's like having multiple responsibilities, right? And then you think, how do I make sure my parents are supported? How do I make sure I'm taking care of my parents too? And you're just like, how can I do all this? I got you. I got you. My name is Meg, Coach Meg, they like to call me here on social media. And I have a healthcare background, but I now also work in marketing and coaching. I want to support you in providing the best care possible for your parents. Because you see, one of the ideas I came up with, being a solution-minded person, is what about gifting your parents exceptional care this Christmas? What does that even mean? You might be thinking, oh my goodness, I'm just, freaking out. There's so much to do. Don't worry, calm down. It's fine. It's going to be okay. When you are looking at supporting your elderly parents, you have to think what will be the best type of care and support for them. Because it's not just about the long-term condition they're dealing with, the medical condition or surgical condition after surgery. It also has to be with their personality, their lifestyle, their ideal lifestyle. Could you gift your parents a whole new lifestyle this time? Let me explain. Providing exceptional care for your parents is bringing in somebody who may have a completely different cultural background, but who has a mindset and the ideas that are so positive and so enriching and so inspiring to your mom or dad. When you think about the ideas I'm talking about, it's like providing support for your parents that you don't have to keep an eye on all the time. So we're going to talk about managing expectations. And right now you're thinking, okay, what are you talking about? What I'm talking about is gifting your parents the best type of care possible for them in this season in their life. They've worked hard, they've raised you well, they've done the best they could. Or maybe, like all parents, I'm a parent too, they were imperfect parents, but you decide to put all that behind you and you create a lifestyle around them so that you can even discuss some challenging issues that have happened in the past. Or you can even have some, time to discuss some unresolved issues. Because you see, in later life, it's the best time to now start looking at some patterns in the family. Something that you would like to change. And as you speak with your parents, as you really have a objective discussion with your parents, you start to realize, oh my goodness, mom and dad had this issue with their parents. That's why I've got it with my kids, So that's a whole nother topic. It's an amazing thing. But one of the things I found working in healthcare, I did it in the NHS, worked in 3 different countries. And here in the United Kingdom, I've also supported families who have an elderly parents with medical conditions or after surgery. So what I found is this. Having a plan in place way ahead of time before you have any issues or challenge is always a good thing to do. When you make a plan like at the last minute, that's when problems start happening. That is when expectations are really difficult to manage. Because what I found sometimes with families is they have this unrealistic expectation of a professional caregiver, an independent, or even an agency. Because remember, when you are dealing with another business, you're dealing with people. When you're working with an agency, which is one way, and it's called managed care, this is where the agency finds an exceptional caregiver for you, or somebody who's trained, who's worked in healthcare for many years, and this person, they've worked out, they've done all the screening, can look after your parents, and that person has experience. And ideally, it's a non-negotiable. This person has been police checked, yes? So what you want to do is, that's one type of support you can get, is you can work with an agency. Yes, it's called managed care. Now, here with the agency will charge you a certain amount every week or every month or every 3 months, according to what you agree. Every agency has its own terms and conditions to work with them. The caregiver they provide for you is on their database. Some of them have a lot of people on their books. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be effective, because all these, I like to call them field workers, can be looking after other people in different parts of the country. So at the last minute, when you call them at the last minute, they will have to try and find somebody. Because I've been on both sides. They have to try and find somebody from their database who's available to come next week, or or in the next few days, because maybe the person who is currently there or that a family has, some issue happens, there's some micromanaging going on. We're going to talk about that because I want to prepare you as families. A lot of people don't understand and it causes unnecessary stress, yes? So for whatever reason, the agency has to try and find somebody else. And depending on who's available, they'll find somebody. Sometimes somebody's available, sometimes nobody's available. Sometimes the owner of the company actually has to, fill the gap. Yes, and actually come and live with the clients. So this particular type of care package I'm talking about is live-in care, which I must say I'm biased towards because I have seen the quality of life of the elderly in the community, how it improves their quality of life. They are back on their feet again, they're happy again, they're seeing their friends again. It's like getting their life back. I highly recommend you try this out. Even if you try it for 90 days or 30, or 30 days. I highly recommend 90 days for my business. It's not sustainable. If you want to work with me, you're like, you know what, I'm interested in this. It is just such an amazing way where your parents are well looked after, they're supported, and it's just a beautiful arrangement. So anyway, that's one way. You work with an agency and they provide managed care, okay? Now, the agency can also have on its books self-employed caregivers who are like subcontractors. So they will have their own other clients, but they'll be filling in when this agency doesn't have enough staff. So that's one way that can be really stressful because I've seen it. Where family are upset, because of other healthcare issues, any problems with the healthcare industry, the NHS, and it's like now you've got somebody in the house. So people may have some unresolved issues with the healthcare system, and it's too much to try and put all that on this new individual. This person is just here to provide support. They're not there to fix the mistakes of the healthcare industry. Not at all, okay? So that's something that we talk about. That's why I do coaching, because I realize there's such a need in the industry for this, where families can understand what actually happens. It's one thing to read an article and all the requirements and how much you pay, but it's another thing to actually understand how it works day to day, okay? So that's what we're going to talk about. Then the other side of providing a care package, which I highly recommend, gifting your parents with a care package to support them. It's not like it means they are incapable of managing their lives. That's not what that means. It's just giving them the necessary support in this season of their life to improve their quality of life. Because I kid you not, if your parents are dealing with some illness, which if they don't have the right support, they'll be gone long before you are even ready for them to go. But providing the right support, it gives you time to be with your parents. It gives you time to do videos, to do family stories, which there are a lot of times I'm like, families don't understand this. Do videos with your parents. Let them talk about their journey, what life was like, what they learned, all the life lessons, all their wisdom. You can have all that documented in a video, and you can have it to pass on the wisdom, to your children and your children's children. It's like keeping the memory of your parents alive. That's another topic we talk about in the coaching. It's a whole package. But anyhow, the second type of care package, which I'm going to talk about now, is where you actually hire a caregiver directly. Now, this is not an easy one because you will have to understand, different things. But this is the benefit of this. It saves on unnecessary expenses. Sometimes, yes, you will have to go with an agency because sometimes there are not even enough self-employed caregivers, yes? So we want to work with both. So that is why you will not see me going, because it's just the nature of the industry. So the self-employed caregiver is somebody you work with directly. You plan the care directly together. So you are more directly involved. You have more control of the outcomes that you want and expect, yes? Because there's essentially no middleman, there's no company in between. So hiring a self-employed caregiver is, I like to say it's really effective. It's a useful way, but also keep the agency model and package in mind as well, because that can be like a backup. If your caregiver, the one that you've employed directly, doesn't have a team around her, you can find an agency in the area. that can check on their books and find you a backup, yes, to cover maybe 2 weeks while your full-time caregiver is on holiday. Caregiver is a term that is actually, let me just say here, used in the United States and in Canada and I think in Australia as well. In the United Kingdom, it's called the carer, okay, or a healthcare assistant. Healthcare assistant if they are working in the hospital mainly, or working in the community just covering days or covering nights. But in the UK, it's known as a carer. So I will use caregiver mainly because this video, my videos, I've done my numbers, are being watched by people in the United States, in Canada, in Australia. Yes? So when I say that term, just apply to the area where you are. So hiring someone directly is you take more responsibility. Now, the challenge here is to manage expectations. How to be fair on the other person who's coming to work in your home, your parents' home, and how it must be fair for you as well. Okay, and that can be quite challenging to work out what's the right way, because you could be one of those, you're really gentle, you don't like these difficult discussions, which sometimes has to happen. That is where a coach comes in. I come in, I can be like a mediator to try and work out, okay, what's actually going on? Do we need to just find somebody else? The caregiver you have in place is really not happy with the setup. Because one of the things I found in the industry is people are not always what they seem. On the family's side and on the caregiver's side. The caregiver may seem happy, excuse me, may seem like a happy person, and the family may seem like the right match. But for some reason, it may not work, because all of us in all relationships, this is like building new relationships, new people. The person may feel, oh, this is not what I expected. And the family may also feel, oh, this is not what we expected. That is why this is a professional industry. That is why this is not something you just do lightly. This is not something that you just, oh, let's just keep mom and dad quiet. No. Yes. I would like to say, like, I'm an advocate for the elderly. We want to make sure that your parents have the right person in place, okay? But I'm also an advocate for caregivers. We want to make sure that the caregivers are working in suitable environments and conditions, because they are professionals. They also have families, and it's a whole topic, okay? So, managing expectations. Number one, if you have never done this before, you are on the right video. Listen, I want you to get in touch with me, leave some details, and we're going to talk through this like for 30 minutes. You've seen my videos and you're like, I'm really interested in this. This is for families, okay? If you're looking for work, this is not the video for you. I want you to go to my website, caringpearls.com, or you can also go to my marketing website, because I also do personal branding. I want to help you as a caregiver to stand out in the marketplace. I want to coach you, take you through the training so that you are attracting the right clients, that you are attracting the right families, that you are working hours that are helpful for you, are suitable for you, that you're not working too hard and you are close to burnout. I worked in healthcare, so I've got a different section for you. This video is primarily for families who are looking for a caregiver, okay? Or who are thinking, what do we need to do? Because sometimes you don't even know where to start. Or sometimes you are trying to manage it by yourself, and I have so much respect for that, and I applaud you. But just in case you get to a point where you're like, I don't think I can do this anymore, and you realize it's not about feeling guilty, it's about getting the right support for your parents, okay? So managing expectations. The first thing you'll want to do is search online, like this video. You're listening to the ideas. What is it like? What will it be like day to day? Yes? So you start getting some information. You search online, the industry, the agencies in your area that are close to you, because it's easier. They will be targeting caregivers that live close to you. That's easier for travel. Say, for example, you want somebody to come and cover supporting your parents just a couple of hours a day. So you need an agency that does day shift cover. Yes. Or you may also be thinking, we probably need someone who actually lives with mom in the home, or mom or dad, both of them. Yes. For privacy, just it feels safe. They have somebody else in the house, and they're not alone and they're not vulnerable. Or it's also because it's actually not safe for them to be on their own. They may fall at night several times or fall during the day. It is not safe for them. I've had parents who were falling so many times, the family's like, that's it. Even if the mom didn't want it, but they had to come together and agree, this is too much stress. We're worried about you. Because sometimes parents can be really difficult. Parents can be really difficult. They won't accept that they need the help now. And that's where you put your foot down, like, let's discuss this, And sometimes you have to, that's what one of the discussions we talk about in the coaching, to find a way that is right for your family. Okay, so managing expectations, you do your research, you go online, you check the different agencies, you check the budget, the resources according to the budget that you have, because I want you to plan long term. I want you to think the next 3 years. Yes? Okay, that's just minimum. Okay, I want you to think the next 3 years. So you will have to speak to your accountant, you have to speak to your advisor, financial advisor, how you're going to manage this. You will have to check with your local council. There's a lot of different moving parts to this. So that is why coaching really helps, because it's an objective person telling you, you don't necessarily have to work with me. My only rate will be the consultation. Yes? The consultation to put this plan in place, help you with the advertising. If you really want to do this well and you don't want the stress, you don't want the hassle, you want to manage risks ahead of time, you want to make sure in the next 6 months, in the next year, you can still plan your holiday, you can still focus on what you're doing, you can still, this is really ideal. Work with a coach, get in touch with me so that you have a plan in place that is suitable for you. Yes? Okay. All right, so managing expectations, you do your research and then you decide. You may not even want to work with a coach like me, or you may want to speak to somebody else. That is also fine. You are getting the ideas here anyhow. That will help you. Then what you can do is do like a trial shift, like for a week or two. Otherwise, it's not worth it for anybody to work, want to come and work. Because this is work. It's healthcare in the community, okay? All right, so this person comes and this is what you can expect, depending on the package you choose and the person you choose. Every person is different. People are individuals. Most of them that will work with you, they already have the experience, so you don't have to worry about that. They know what it's like to live with other people of different cultures and the challenges that go with it. Most people are level-headed, they're cool, they mind their own business. They're there to do the work. After a week or two, they go back home or go to the next client. Now, I'm going to interject something here. I've worked with families who felt like when they find a caregiver, that caregiver must only work with them. That is so unrealistic and that is so weird. That is really strange, because a caregiver is an independent professional who comes and works with the family. And if the conditions are not right, they're not what the caregiver expected, they are free to move on and work somewhere else. Families need to understand this. You cannot insist that person only works with you, because usually, if anything, in the industry, caregivers are not well paid. So they have to supplement their income with other clients. You must understand this, so that even if you work with an agency, maybe the agency won't tell you this, caregivers usually don't make enough money unless you hire them directly. That's a different story altogether, and that's a different package altogether. Okay? So you do a trial shift, the caregiver comes. All you can do, you can be around while they get used to your mom and dad, and your mom and dad get used to them. You just watch their personality. Are they friendly? Are they patient? Or do they come across as, hurry up, there's a term in the industry used, do they pass the mom test? Yes? Now, listen to this. You don't necessarily have to stay there. This is an adult, this is a professional. All you need to know is that they are police checked, they have the references, and they've agreed, and you've signed an agreement together, either directly or with an agency, what the working hours are, what the break hours are, and whether you cover their meals or it's covered in the weekly pay. Okay? So that's just one thing. And I highly recommend to treat this as a people skill scenario. Okay? It's about a people skill. Okay. So when you've had the trial period and you're like, oh, we're happy with this person, you don't necessarily need a trial period, because there's some people who have so much experience. Like in my case, it's like you just get on with it. You get organized, you start checking all the medication, you start checking, is the home safe for both of us? Every caregiver, not everybody does this, has to think like a manager. That is why my services are completely unique and different. The way I do this is completely unique and different. I come from a professional background, but I also come from a people skills background. How to work with different types of people, how to build rapport with difficult clients. I've had some clients who are so difficult, they're not getting on with the other caregiver, but because I was able to build rapport with them, we got on really well. Because what I also found is sometimes the caregiver, they're human, you have to give it to them, they're human, they forget this is a professional environment. They've been working there for 6 weeks, 3 months, and the lines are crossed. You start thinking this is like a friend or a family member, and they start shouting back, the caregiver and the client. It's a right mess. It's embarrassing, but it happens. It happens. So that person had to leave in the end. They couldn't stay. Oh, he's like this and he's like that. You need somebody who understands managing expectations ahead of time. That is why usually agencies will tell you, oh, this person is like this, and they'll coach the caregiver. So the caregiver coming into that new working role understands, oh, this person can be a bit difficult. Oh, this person can be a bit stubborn. You have some elderly parents who want to go to bed at 11 o'clock, and the caregiver has to be ready the next morning by 6 o'clock to prepare for the day, medication and all this. It doesn't work. It just gets too much. It is unsustainable. And a lot of parents don't realize why it's not sustainable. Sometimes even an agency will not tell you. It's because if you make it hard for somebody to come and support you, they have to go. Nobody wants to work with somebody who's difficult, even in their own families. I don't want to work with somebody who doesn't meet me halfway. There's no need for that stress. And professionally, actually, right? If you come to the hospital, let's say, for example, in a hospital scenario, and the person doesn't want to take medication, your part as a caregiver is to calm them down, explain to them the importance of this, and reassure them. But you cannot force somebody to do something they cannot do. That is totally unacceptable. You can't do that. Nobody can force anybody to do anything. Okay? So you want somebody who is also sensible. Because sometimes, it's because the elderly family member hasn't built rapport with the caregiver, or there's something they don't like about them, So there's confidentiality, to be discreet. I'm amazed that this is one of the industries that doesn't pay well in the United Kingdom. It's very strange to me. It's really very strange, because it is tough to work with difficult people. Okay? All right, so managing expectations, you do all your research and you decide, and now you've done the trial. That's it. Yes? Make sure the caregiver is paid on time. Make sure the caregiver is getting enough rest. So in the times that the caregiver needs to have a break, you as a family, one of the daughters or the sons, can come and cover. Right? You come and sit with mom and dad. That's a great opportunity for you to catch up with mom and dad and to know how they're getting on. Not like an undercover spy. Oh, are they treating you well? No, what I mean is come with an objective mindset. It is difficult for your parents and for your caregiver. It's two strangers who are trying to make it work. So you have to give it time. It may actually take 6 months before both of them actually get used to this. Some people get on really quickly and it just works easily. But some people, it's about working through the difficulties. It's about relationships. Yes? A lot of people are highly strong about this in their mind. They don't realize this is a people skills business. And it's not always easy to get on with other people straight away. It can be nigh impossible. Okay? So when you come, You must have this objective view when you come to cover the caregiver's break. Like, is this just mom or dad being difficult because they want us to be the ones to care for them? Or this is the right setup for mom and dad, and if we stick with it, if we're willing to persevere with this, the benefits are going to show up in the end. Yes? Because I've been there. I've been in those scenarios where the mom was being really difficult and just wanted the daughter to support her. But the daughter had a full-time job and she couldn't, but in any way you look at it, leave her job. She needs to pay her mortgage. She needs to pay her bills. Yes? So the scenarios are interesting. You know, this is client confidentiality. You don't know who I'm talking about. I'm giving you examples. So it's about managing expectations right at the beginning. So having the discussion, when you come to see mom and dad, just observe. Be the positive influence that mom and dad need when you come to cover that break. It can be 2 hours, it can be 3 hours, you can decide. You can decide on a Sunday, if the caregiver is somebody who likes to have time on Sunday to go to church, you say, okay, look, we'll cover the time that you go to church because, you know, we appreciate you being here. Because I kid you not, when a caregiver feels appreciated and supported by the family, they'll do their very best. They will absolutely do their very best to support your mom and dad because you start to treat them like part of extended family. Yes, and I know that can be hard because it's another culture and you're not sure how to deal with them, or don't worry about that. And that's part of the discussions we have in the coaching. It's not about who is this stranger. This person has come to support and to help your family. And when they feel supported, it's going to work really well long term. Yes, it's going to work really long term. Because remember, there'll be times that you can't be there for mom and dad 24/7. You cannot. Nobody can. If you can, that is good, well and good. But you will also have burnout if you don't have somebody who comes and covers you or gives you a break. There are some of you, I appreciate you, I have so much respect for you, especially here in the United Kingdom. You are full-time caregivers. Give yourself a chance without feeling guilty. There is nothing wrong to take a break and have somebody else to support you. You don't need to have burnout. Yes, you can still have the life you want. If you want, right, you can do this. You can rotate with another caregiver. If you are concerned, if you're really, really concerned and you really cannot trust anybody, if you're one of those kind of people, and I can understand that, this is what you can do. Work out a plan, and we'll discuss this in the coaching because it has to be beneficial for both of you, right? Because you want to support your mom and dad to make sure they're good, they're okay, and you feel safe. But you also want to have a life where you can still support your husband, you can still support your children, you can still support your partner. Because you don't want to give up your life just to support your parents and you neglect the rest of your life. Yes, don't do that. It's not healthy for you, okay? You can do a rotation with a caregiver where the caregiver comes in and works like for 3 weeks, and then you take a week and go and stay with mom. That would be a really good arrangement. You come and stay with mom or dad. So you can see for yourself day to day what it's actually really like. And of course, they'll be different. Remember this, your parents will behave differently with a caregiver, a professional caregiver who's come in your home, and you, the child. Okay? So it can be really confusing. I've had this discussion with many families where they're like, sometimes we don't know, is it us or is it mom? What are we doing? Are we making it seem like we can do everything mom wants, right? Because you have to make sure it's sustainable. Yes? If you make it come across with your mom and dad that, you know, you're going to be there 24/7 every minute. If you set a standard that is hard for another human being to maintain, then you're setting up this whole plan to fail. Yes? You're setting up the plan to fail. You want a plan that can succeed. And part of that is helping mom or dad understand that we've got somebody here for you. They're a professional. Be good. Be nice. This person is here to support you and to help you. Come with an objective point of view. If there's any issue or concern, get in touch with us and we'll be here. We'll be there to support you. Make sure your mom and dad know that you are actually supervising this whole thing, that they're not left alone with a stranger. Yes? and that your parents have options. Oh, I can't forget to say that. You must let your mom and dad know that they have options. If it's not working out after a trial week or two, that you can look at another plan, but you need to give the other caregiver time to make a plan for her next role. I've actually been in that situation. Yes, because this is a person who needs to support themselves, so you need to make a plan where you can manage until that new person comes in or you find another agency cover, okay? And that's, in my experience, it shouldn't happen a lot, but it can happen where, two people just cannot get on, and that's just, it's human rights, basic human rights. If people are not getting on, that's okay, you make another plan. And another plan could be where you decide, okay, you know what, let's take you for respite care, where your mom and dad go and stay in a residential facility for a week or two, so that they can figure out which is better, to be in a residential facility or to stay at home. Now, talking about that, in some cases, it will get to a point where it is not safe for your mom or dad to stay at home, because the caregiver, the one person, cannot keep an eye on them like every 2 minutes. That person needs a break, needs time to sit down a little bit, needs time. That's where you will have to get two people in. Somebody comes in the morning up until maybe 4 o'clock, and somebody comes in the afternoon from 4 o'clock until the next day. So there's different plans that you can work out. I've been in this industry for a while now. There's different ways that you can work it out, okay? And it's also about managing expectations, trying to reduce the friction right at the beginning, troubleshooting before the problems come in. So that is why involving mom and dad in the discussion is so important. And this is where I'm going to close. Right at the beginning, as you start, you're like, mom and dad, or both, we want to gift you with a care package where you have somebody who supports you. This will be a professional, somebody who's got the personality and the mindset. They understand it's coming to manage and support you. They are coming as a guest in your home. They're not coming to take over. Your routine will continue the way it is, within reason, of course, because when you're living with other people, it's like making new friends, yes, of a different culture. But that person is there on a professional basis. So it can work really well when both parties understand how this works. It's not just about, the caregiver, I'm going to cover a shift over there, da, da, da. No, they understand this, with the coaching I do anyway. Somebody wants to make a difference in the life of another. And we want you to have peace of mind that our parents are being taken care of, so you're not stressed out about it. So on that note, get in touch with me, right? And leave me a message, and I'll be in touch with you, because I'm taking spaces at the moment. I've got a few spaces for those of you who want to make sure you have a plan in place now, so that by Christmas, your parents are already used to this new support system that you've put in place. It is imperative that you put this support system in place now, because come Christmas, it will be a breeze. Yes, it will be a breeze, because your parents are now used to having somebody else supporting them, not just you. I mean, in real life, all of us, even for parents, we don't do everything by ourselves. We have doctors, we have, GP, we have the dentist, we have a whole support system around us. We have childminders, we have a pharmacist, we have the supermarkets, we have coaches, we have therapists, we have we all have a support system around us. There's nothing strange about that, right? It's just understanding in this scenario now. And I think I've gone to great lengths to explain this is just about revising your support system and making it work for you. And listen, if you like what I'm saying and you're like, you know what, Coach Meg, I actually need somebody who's going to support my parents. I want to put that plan in place now. Get in touch with me, okay? Get in touch with me. We're going to do a Zoom call just for 30 minutes so I can work out if we are the right match. We can work together. And if we can organize this plan to get up and running right now. No time wasting, because, I want to support as many families as I can. So listen, I look forward to your message. Get in touch with me, any questions that you have. Or if you are the one who's the main support for your family and your parents, you need some support and some guidance you like. I just need somebody to cover maybe 2 weeks. Minimum is what I highly recommend. so you can have a break, go on holiday, make another plan. That will be fine, no problem. Get in touch with me and I'll speak with you soon. Bye for now.